Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for watching. This video is one that I have been working on for a few weeks now. It is one of my big passions in life. If you clicked on it, you've seen the title, it's about herbalism. So this is just going to be an intro video to the start of a series of videos that I will be making. After this first intro video, I will be making, so each video after this will have a specific topic. Like I'll talk about specific herbs, specific essential oils, specific things that you can make, like salves and tinctures and teas, and we're going to be going through a whole plethora of herbs. Now, I will, of course, probably not be able to cover every single herb, but I will more than likely be covering the herbs that are close to my region here in northern Kentucky, just because those are the ones that I can wild forage myself, usually just out here in my backyard. So those are going to be the ones I talk about, mainly talk about. I will talk about other ones that a lot of people are probably familiar with, but I do want to focus on the ones that are in my area. I will also be talking today about why I love herbalism so much, how it connects me to my witchy path, and what I've done to further my studies. So let's get into it, shall we? I made lots of notes, so I will be referring to my notebook. But as we all know, herbs have been used for a millennia. They've been used everywhere from in Mesopotamia. They used them, the Egyptians, they used them to help them in, the mummification process, and they had them in jars and stuff when they buried people. It's a well-known thing, right? Herbalism kind of took a downturn around the dark ages, around when the plague or the Black Death happened, just because people realized that herbs could not really help them in this situation, and so they turned to things that they thought would. And in that situation, I don't know how they felt so helpless, how they felt like they didn't have any control over anything of who got it and who didn't, and it was just this huge oppressive thing that was happening to them. So I'm sure that they turned to anything that they thought would help once they realized, that the things that they had been doing were not helping. I don't know how someone would feel in that situation. But now here in us modern times here in 2025, I feel herbalism has kind of begun a resurgence. I think in these times that we're living in this political climate and all of these things, where food prices are so high, and the healthcare system, don't even get me started. I will never tell someone to not go to a medical doctor and to only use like herbs and holistic means. I think that herbalism and Western medicine need to go hand in hand. I don't think that only Western is the answer, and I don't think that only herbalism is the answer. I think that they can coexist, and I think they have coexisted quite easily. But I feel like we just need to, I think more people should be comfortable with having holistic in their life as well as Western medicine. What did I put here? Yes, so I feel like more people are turning to herbs to fuel their bodies, fuel their minds, to help them with things. People are growing their own food, which that in itself is medicine to me. Food is medicine, and you can heal your body with food. But so we're gonna start to get into the nitty gritty of, and I actually threw it all the way back here. To be an herbalist. So here in the United States, there is no course, no class that you can take to be a certified herbalist. You can be a certified aromatherapist, which I am, but you cannot be a certified herbalist. Now, you can take classes, you can take courses, you can graduate from them, like I myself have done with the Herbal Academy. I've taken 3 of their courses, loved every second of it. I do call myself an herbalist because I have done enough schooling and self-study that I feel comfortable calling myself that. But that's the bad thing about it, right? Like, anyone can call themselves an herbalist and they cannot know what they're doing with the herbs or what have you. So I do think you do have to be careful with who you trust, because some of these herbs can be very dangerous. Some of them can kill you. Some plants that are poisonous look exactly like plants that aren't, or almost exactly like plants that aren't. So this is something that I feel like should be given the proper respect, should be given the proper study, and should be used in the proper way. That being said, you can be a registered herbalist. Now, a registered herbalist is someone who's going more the clinical route, right? Someone who wants to practice medicine, but also have that holistic approach, right? Now, you can become a registered herbalist with the American Herbalists Guild, okay? And now this is pulled from the AmericanHerbalistGuild.com. And this is what it takes to become a registered herbalist. This is the membership criteria, okay? And I pulled this directly off of their site. Education and training. Approximately 800 hours of comprehensive training in botanical medicine achieved through formal education, independent study, or both. And then they have a suggested education guidelines for an overview of what the AHG considers a comprehensive education in botanical medicine. A materia, I'd never say this right, material medica, a working knowledge of at least 150 medicinal herbs. You will demonstrate your knowledge by providing information about the clinical application of herbs from one of the 3 major categories, which is Western, Ayurvedic, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I don't think I am, or traditional Chinese medicine. Basic sciences, a practical understanding of human anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, and basic plant chemistry obtained through independent or formal education and applied in your differential assessment of cases. Clinical experience, approximately 400 hours of clinical experience obtained through independent practice, structured mentorship, supervised clinical training as part of an academic program, or a combination of these experiences, okay? And the AHG goes through to define what they see as a clinical experience. Case histories and therapeutics, demonstrated ability to conduct a comprehensive intake, compile a case history, and provide a differential assessment by presenting 3 case histories from your practice. Practice management and ethics, show your understanding of your scope of practice and personal practice limitations by supplying the names and contact information from 3 healthcare practitioners with whom you consult or to whom you refer clients when a case is beyond your scope of practice. Letters of recommendation, 2 letters of recommendation from colleagues familiar with your training and experience as a clinical herbalist. At least 1 letter of recommendation should be from one of your primary botanical medicine instructors. If that is not possible, you will need to provide a detailed explanation as to why you could not get that letter. And then continuing education, a demonstrated commitment to ongoing botanical medicine education. That is the list of requirements from the American Herbalist Guild to become a registered herbalist. So if that is something that you want to do, that you're interested in, I would suggest going to the AmericanHerbalistGuild.com. You can download this. You can also download the application itself just to see what that all entails, and to go forward and do what you want to do, right? But if you're like me and you don't want to go the route of the clinical herbalist, you can be like me. So like I said before, I call myself an herbalist because I have done extensive hours of schooling, extensive hours of case studies, because aromatherapy and herbalism to me it's like a Venn diagram, right? And there's a part that overlaps. Essential oils, of course, come from plants, and they come from these wonderful things that grow in the earth. So being an aromatherapist and an herbalist was kind of a no-brainer for me, because I started with aromatherapy and it just solidified that I wanted to learn about herbs as well. And so it's kind of steered me to take formal classes and study on herbalism. I love it. I love talking about plants. I love growing them. I actually I have some raised garden planters out here that I am prepping, excuse me, right now to have some seeds put in there. I'm going to grow some potatoes and tomatoes, maybe some cucumbers, some green beans. I'm going to do some herbs. I love growing things. So I am prepping for that right now. I love it so much. I actually have right here, edible wild plants. I usually have this with me wherever I go, just so if I see a plant, I can like try to identify it and see if I could be able to eat it. Because just like with anything, being a witch, tarot, herbalism is an ongoing, never-ending learning experience. I learn new things. I learn about new herbs. I learn about new processes. I learn about new ways to do things with herbs all of the time. And I love that it is an ongoing learning process, because I never want to get to a point where I'm like, I know everything. Number one, nobody knows everything about a subject, right? We're always on a learning journey and a learning excursion, and that's why I like it so much. If you want to be like me and just be a regular herbalist and not a clinical herbalist, there are ways that you can do that. So like me, I took classes on Herbal Academy. Like I said before, I took 3 of their courses: their intro, their intermediate, and their business course. I've also taken the Certified Aromatherapist certification program with aromahead.com, which was like 250 hours of study. I took an anatomy and physiology class that was like 125 hours of study. I've taken the classes, right? Part of that was because there aren't a lot of herbalists around me who do workshops or who do mentorships or who do things like that, right? So I had to take a more formal path to learning plants and essential oils and herbalism. But if you live in an area, you can research and see if you have herbalists who take mentorees, who do workshops, who can, maybe just sit down over a cup of coffee and talk to you about the day in the life of an herbalist, right? There are many avenues that you can take. You just have to go forth and research, right? Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I love plants so much. Number one, my mom. She was a plant lady. Even to the point where while she was pregnant with me, she said that she craved, number one, raw potatoes, which to this day, I love a good chunk of raw potato, just a little bit of salt on it. It's amazing. The crunch and the starch, and it's awesome. But when she also craved the smell of fresh dirt. And when she was pregnant with me, and even, years after, she had so many plants growing in our house. And so she would, every day while she was pregnant, she would walk around and stir up the dirt and smell it because she craved the smell of fresh dirt. And she was always having a garden as well. My Mama and Papa, they always had a garden every year. Mama canned, they had chickens, so I grew up in a very nature, earthy way as well, up until my parents had got divorced, and so Ma and Dad went away. He was incarcerated for quite a few years. So Mom had to raise us 3 kids by herself. And so we kind of had to go to places that Mom could afford. We had to go to places that didn't really give us access to have, like a garden or anything like that, right? But that love for plants and for gardens and for things like that, it just continued. And then eventually Dad got unincarcerated. Him and Mom got back together. We moved to Kentucky, and we were able to live in places where we were able to have gardens again. And so we would always grow food. Mom and Dad didn't really can, but we were always growing food. Growing up in the country, in the country or very rural areas, you kind of just learn by living what plants are what. I remember there was one time me and bestie Katie, we were scouting for a photo shoot, and we were scouting a location, and we took one of our other friends, Beth, who we are not friends with now, but we took her with us. And as we were walking, it was like this nature reserve type of place. As we were walking, I saw a blackberry bush. So I walked up, and they were ripe, and I ate a few, and Beth looked at me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "It's blackberries." And she said, How do you know? How do you know they're not poisonous?" And I was like, I just do. Like, we grew up running through the woods, and we would eat blackberries and raspberries and apples and honeysuckles, we would always eat those. You just grow up and kind of knowing what plants and fruits that you find just growing in the woods that you can eat. And I didn't know that was like an uncommon thing until, you get older and then you interact with different people and what have you. But that was a small little tangent. But I grew up just knowing. And as I have gotten older, I have continued to either have really large gardens. When I was still with my ex-husband, we had quite a bit of land. And so I had a huge garden. We got divorced, I moved out. And so then my garden got smaller, but I still had houseplants. I still had herbs growing. I would still do like tomato plants in pots. Now I live here and I can do like raised beds. I still do tomato plants and stuff in pots and put them on my porch. Things look a little different now, but I'm still growing. I'm still growing things and I'm eating them and I'm loving it. This all intersects with my spirituality. I am a very earth-based, I practice a very earth-based spirituality. Plants are sacred to me. Plants are spiritual. I think that all plants have energies and they have these just amazing vibes that they give off, right? I work with herbs all the time here in my practice. I'm constantly burning incense with herbs in them. I'm constantly doing something, right? Like right now I'm working on consecrating my working candle. And part of that is I did part of the steps. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is kind of off topic, but so this is my current in process working candle. So I will normally get a large white pillar candle. I will carve symbols in it and then I will put colored candle wax in those, right? And this one, so there's like that one, and then I have one over here, and then I have one right there you can't really see, and then I have one right there you can't really see because the wax like dripped down, but and then I have dripped wax down the side of this. And then what I will do next is I will drip more wax on top and I will put herbs on top of that. Once that gets, it's not time for that yet, but I include herbs in almost every aspect of my spirituality. Like right now, my weekly cards are over here, and it's like a 3 moon, and I have herbs in the full moon part right there. I have a little herb blend in there that I have a crystal on top of, but I include them. I love to just go walk barefoot in the yard. I love to go hiking. I love to take the dogs on walks. I have a creek not too far from me that I take the dogs to quite often. Haven't been able to here recently with all the rain and the flooding, and the creek was up very, very high. But also me being an herbalist, I want to help people. I want to show them another option. I want to help them connect with nature again if they want to. I want to just open possibilities. I want to spread knowledge. I eventually want to start holding herbal workshops. I want to talk about native herbs that are around us to people who live around here. I just want to spread knowledge and understanding of this wonderful place that we live, because not a lot of people appreciate her, and I feel like more people should. But so that was my rambling introduction to my herbalism series. I am hoping to do like an herbalism video like once every couple months. That's my goal right now, because I do have my videos I do every month, and so I do want to switch it up a little bit with y'all. But thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to start this series. I hope you like it as much as I have been liking making them. I am working on the next video. It will be about one of my favorite herbs, lavender. I love lavender so much. But stay tuned for that. That is the next one I will be doing. But thank you again so much for stopping in and having this chat with me and listening to me ramble. And I hope you stop in next time. Thank you so much. Blessings and growth. I hope you have a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year. I will see you next time. Bye.